All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Guna Eagle Eye, and that's right, you are through to the chopping block. I'm sure a lot of you expected this. I'm sure a lot of you don't blame me for this, but there's only one candidate that I could go with this week, and that is Mr. David Luiz. Look at that cheesy grin. Oh dear, what can I say about David Luiz that I haven't already said? I'm going to try and pronounce all his names. David Luiz Moreira Marinho. I butchered the crap out of that. Who's 33 years old, 6'2", and an absolute liability, and always has done, always has been. You can tell I'm not a fan. And actually, for me, when we bought him, I was truly shocked. I remember because this whole transfer happened very, very quickly, particularly because we've been looking for a defender. We were heavily linked with Upamecano, and that deal didn't go through. And there was a lot of discussion generally about who we would go for at the time. And all of a sudden, I started seeing stories about David Luiz, who plays for Chelsea. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I wasn't too concerned, I must admit, because I remember this story originally came up at the very beginning of August. And in my mind, I was thinking, now, there is no way we'd get David Luiz now. Because we'd been linked with David Luiz for so much of his career. We're talking about a man who initially joined Chelsea in 2014 for a fee of basically £24 million. And for me, he's always been a liability. I've never rated him, even when he played for that long. I think people fell in love with his ability because of his ability to take a free kick, his ability to be able to show a bit of skill. After all, he is Brazilian. So I think people fell in love with the idea of David Luiz rather than the actual quality. And it also helped, as much as I cannot stand John Terry, it helped that he played with John Terry. Because John Terry, for all of his personal human being faults, was a damn good defender. So it helps when somebody is next to you and can guide you through. And then, David Luiz being David Luiz, it's almost like he gets bored. And that's why a lot of this recent Benfica talk hasn't been a particularly big surprise to me. It's like he got bored and then he moved very shockingly, in my opinion. He ended up moving. I'm trying to work out here. I'm trying to think how much they actually bought him for. So Chelsea initially bought him for it's 22.5 mil. They sold him to Paris Saint-Germain for £23.4 million, just randomly, and in 2016. It seemed like a move that didn't make a lot of sense. Emre was obviously in charge of the team at PSG at the time. Did well there, won a couple of leagues. Again, seemingly got bored, had a desire to come back to England. Chelsea came calling, Chelsea came running. And you know what? I've misread this. I have misread this. Sorry, guys. Flip it out. You would have thought I would have had all this sorted. But listen, transfer.com ain't the clearest of this. So basically, this, from what I understand, Chelsea bought him in for 23.5 million. They sold him for 44.5 million. I'm guessing. Oh, I am an idiot. Let's try that again. So Chelsea bought him originally for 22.5 million. I remember that fee, so that's why I'm surprised I doubted myself. I'm reading the wrong column. They then sold him to PSG for 44.5 million because Chelsea, unlike Arsenal, are a team that know how to sell their players. But then it's like David Luiz got bored, and then all of a sudden was being linked with a return. Sorry, guys, I know this fan makes noise, but I'm hot, so I'm gonna have to use it. So they sold him PSG in 2016 for £31.5 million. So they obviously made a loss in that. He stayed for 3 years, won, I think, at least one league title. Then people realized actually David Luiz is not bad in the three. But then Frank Lampard came along, and Frank Lampard actually decided, you know what? I don't really rate you. And actually, if we're being truthful, I've got four centre backs. Two of them are pretty young, but I'd put them ahead of you. Obviously, Zuma came back. They've now got Tomori. They had Christensen, and I think they had one other. So he kind of was like the odd man out. It's like, well, how can the great David Luiz all of a sudden become the number 5 centre back? And Arsenal, not paying attention to the fact that Frank Lampard came in and said that he was not good enough for Chelsea. Apparently, he was good enough for Arsenal, and they snagged him on a fee of just shy of £8 million. In their wisdom, Arsenal, eh? What can you say? Sometimes you get what you pay for, and we most certainly have when it comes to David Luiz. What people I remember at the time were making videos saying it was a bargain of the century. Go and watch my Welcome to Arsenal video for David Luiz. It isn't a good one. It's not an enthusiastic one. In fact, I think I did an eagle eye transfer in a show right before it. I was not happy. I've never rated David Luiz. And I knew what sort of calamity he would bring. I knew what sort of problems he'd bring. Do you know what I've completely forgotten, guys? I'm so sorry. I knew I was missing something here. This is the last time I'm going to do this through StreamYard, by the way. So, yeah, I think for me personally, with David Luiz, it wasn't a huge surprise when he started making mistakes. Bear in mind, we're talking about someone that we've signed less than a year ago. And already Arsenal fans are regretting it. They realize how poor this man truly is in his position. And it is what it is. You know, I think sometimes you just have to be honest. And honestly, is David Luiz good enough for Arsenal? You know the answer to that question. I know the answer to that question. I mean, look at the irony of this particular picture. Look at this. If only he did that more. With David Luiz, I'm at a loss to explain a lot of things when it comes to him. But what I do know is that he's not good enough for Arsenal. And for me, it wasn't just the mistakes that he made against Man City. It wasn't just the mistakes he made against Chelsea. But it's the fact that you've got younger players that are coming after him, the William Salibas, for example, who are looking at him and learning that. That's not the example I want set for my youngsters. I don't care how good he supposedly is in the dressing room. Supposedly he's a character that every single person likes. I heard the exact same thing at Chelsea. It didn't stop Frank Lampard from saying, see ya. Maybe he is a nice guy. I have nothing against him personally. I just don't rate the guy. And the idea and the cheek of saying to Mikel Arteta, I will stay under one condition. You guys offer me a 2-year deal, which is supposedly the rumor. For me, I would say, see ya. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Because it makes you think, so why have you been flirting with Benfica just so you can get a 2-year contract? A man who's currently on a unbelievably 120 grand a week. We do this, we're our own worst enemy. And it's unusual that I do a chopping block for a man who effectively is out of contract. But what I don't want us to do is make that same mistake again. I don't want us to be in a position whereby we are offering this guy a contract and have another year of calamity, of calamitous mistakes. With David Luiz, this was a failed experiment. It was an incorrect transfer decision. It was all the things that I'm sure you're sat there thinking. But what we can do, we've already made the mistake, but let's at least rectify it. And the way you do that is by not offering him a contract and by letting him sail off to wherever it is that he wants to go, Benfica, wherever, but not Arsenal, please. I think 99% of us can agree with this one. But that is exactly why I would not offer David Luiz a new contract. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments below. If you like this video, destroy that like button. Obviously, you members will get this first, 12 hours before. You'll also see another little secret nugget in there. I've given you another chopping block. And hopefully, you guys will enjoy that. That's just my way of saying thank you to you guys for signing up to the membership and supporting the show. And for the public guys that are getting this, what are you waiting for? Sign up to the membership. But at the very least, hit that like button. All right, guys. I'm going to head up out of here. Enjoy your Sunday. Take care. Deuces.